Hello, everyone. In this episode of the Greater Good podcast, we have with us Daniel. He's a passionate storyteller, traveler, explorer, and also supports social impact across villages and rural areas. He also happens to be my school senior and a fellow cricket colleague. Very happy to have him here on the show. Welcome, warm welcome.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much.
Very happy to have you. Just before we started this recording, we were catching up for almost 20 minutes because there were so many connections. We studied together in the same college, school. We had so many cricket connections. We had so many connections outside of school as well. We were just catching up. It was great to hear the other side of Danny, but we'll dive right into what we are here for, which is to truly understand all the effort and all the passion that Danny brings with him in terms of the greater good side. So, Danny,
thank you for having me here. Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, man. So let's start with understanding. I think I heard that right from childhood there were certain experiences or certain situations that created this mindset for you that it's not just about earning a living and kind of living a normal life. You had certain unique experiences from the time your grandmother took you to kind of an NGO or so. Can you talk about how it all started?
So of course my family made me work very hard to get pocket money.
Okay.
That's number one. So I learned how to hustle.
Okay.
That's number one. My grandmom always took me to an old age home because one of her best friend was unfortunately put in there because her kids did not want to take care of her and kind of cheated her with properties and things like that. So it was a very unfortunate situation, but they were best friends. So we would always go and visit the old age home, and I would go along, and I was a very talkative kid, so I would go and talk to everybody, and I made friends. Every time we went back on a Thursday, there were new friends, new people coming in or new people going out and stuff like that. So I think my grandmom was such a huge inspiration for me in terms of understanding what compassion is and what kindness is. If I have a piece of bread, I would rather share it than to eat it myself. So that's what my grandmom taught me, and that's the inspiration, I would say. Yeah, and we did that for many, many years before my grandmom decided to pull her friend out of the old age home, and this particular person lived with us for 5 years till she passed away. So that friendship, the bond that my grandmom and that person had, I saw it when I was growing up. It was beautiful. So you don't have to be blood relation to love each other, is what I've learned over the many years that I was spending time with my grandmom.
Yeah, I think it's one thing is that as you said, right, you can learn these things from different situations and circumstances around you, but you're so fortunate to have your grandmom to be an inspiration for you.
Yeah, and she never forced me to do these things.
Right.
She was doing it.
Right.
And she was always smiling when she was doing it. So I was like, okay, it must be fun going there. So every time she comes back, she is happy.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, when I want to come with you, where are you going? So I'm thinking it's like a candy land or something like that. So I would also go. So all the unknown senior citizens were showering love to me while they were in a bad situation. They were so happy to see me. And then when I would go back home, I would keep telling my grandma, who are they? Why are they so many people? How do they know me? So, it was just inculcated in such a young age that today I still go and visit old age homes and spend some time there. I do some haircuts. I'm a hairdresser by profession.
Right.
So my grandmom passed away in my hand. So before she passed away, she told me, if you become rich and famous, don't forget to visit an old age home at least once a month. So that rings in my head every single day, every single day. So I think that kind of inspires me to constantly try to help anyone if I can. That's the main thing. I try.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Try is more important.
Is more important, yes. Because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
But I said I'll try. So
there are many kind of initiatives, campaigns that you kind of, over the last few years, you immersed yourself and causes that you backed, right?
Yes.
So there are, like, could you take us through some of them and what made you kind of stick your hand out and say, I want to support them. I want to do something for this person. So there, like, you can take few stories as well from some of these and what inspired you to.
Yeah. For me, to really pick up on an NGO, I thought if I don't go there and experience what they are doing, I will never know whether it's a genuine NGO or not. Because you get calls today saying that, there's something happening, can you please donate? But you don't know what's happening, right? So the last 10 years, I've been traveling on my motorcycle and my car, sometimes with a friend or sometimes solo, just to see and find out if these NGOs are really genuine or no. So there's one particular NGO called Sikkim Himalayan Academy. It came by chance because me and my friend called Ravi, we were just riding our motorcycles in this beautiful winding roads of Sikkim, and suddenly one kid ran across.
Oh.
He was basically chasing a cricket ball.
Okay.
And we jammed our brake and we got off the bike, removed our helmets, and we were like, heart was in the mouth. What if we hit a kid? Then we looked up and we saw that there's a small little school there. So me and Ravi decided to just walk in there and, spend some time. And then the next day we decided to sponsor a lunch there.
Okay.
And that changed everything. And for the last 4 years, I've been supporting this NGO.
So that was a school run as an NGO.
It's an NGO where all these kids, 95% of these kids are first generation going to school.
Oh.
So, and most of them are also orphans. It's a beautiful story there. Even the chef, even the principal, and even the teachers there were once upon a time studied there in that school. Okay. They grew up, studied in another school, earned money, and they're all coming back to give back to the community. So that's a beautiful thing that really touched my heart. But I think one story that I would like to share is, there was a young girl from Bangalore who volunteered to teach computers and English there. And I happened to be there during that same time.
Okay. In that school?
Okay. And then she drew a computer screen on the blackboard.
Okay.
And she gave these young kids paper printouts of the keyboard. Oh. And these kids were imagining that they were, typing and stuff like that. And I remembered that when I was in school, I was bunking computer classes. So I was like, we don't know the world, right? We are all privileged. And that got me really emotional. At the end of the day, I told the principal that I'll try and raise maybe 2 or 3 laptops for, the school. Okay. And then I went back to Bangalore, and me and Ravi, in the span of 1 year, we raised about 12 laptops through friends, bikers, clients. And now how do I go and give it? Then I made friends along the way, so I shipped. So this brand called Moonwalker, who makes Indian cricket pads and all that, is a very close friend of mine.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So
very nice.
They decided to help me ship these computers through their logistic team, and they sent it to Kalimpong. So from there, another biking friend picked up this and then drove 8 hours into the remote college school and went and delivered there. So it was a beautiful network of friends who helped me get the laptop to the school. And it was a surprise to the principal. He was shocked. He called me and he was in tears. He's like, oh my God. So basically, they had their first computer class after 20 years of the school being in existence. And all
with real computers.
Yeah, with real computers. And all the kids were so excited, and some of them remembered me, so they called me and said, thank you, sir. Thank you for the laptop. Thank you. But how to use it? Now we had to find a computer teacher now. So then from Gangtok, there is one boy who travels on the motorcycle, and we pay for his fuel.
Okay.
He travels once a week to go and teach these students computers. So it's a beautiful way of empowering these kids to learn basic stuff. So I think that's every child's right to at least know basics. So that's what we've done for this school, and we continue to raise funds. Every year we try to raise funds for their essentials, stationery, warm clothes, and so on and so forth. So that's one story.
Amazing. I think all of us sitting in this comfort of a city, in an office space, we don't realize how privileged we are, and like such a small gesture of a laptop, keyboard, or a monitor can really change people's lives and how deeply they get impacted in their future, right? And that story, I think, has a lot of wings, I would say, in terms of inspiring more people to contribute this.
Absolutely. Over the last 3 years, we've had clients wanting to, donate directly to the school every quarter, every 2 months or every half a year or so. That's only because I personally constantly go there, right? Because if you know that I'm going there, the trust is there.
Yes.
And I'm such a person that if 1 lakh goes to the school, I ask the principal to give me that breakup of that 1 lakh, how we use it. I am that kind of a person because I studied in this college called Jain College, right? So I was the captain of the cricket team. So Shankar sir would give me 1,000 rupees to feed my cricket team food. And he would said, Guru, bill tagan bani wapas sir. So I had to give him the bill. So I remembered that responsibility. If you've given responsibility, it goes till the end. Even till the last rupee, you have to account for. So I've taken that responsibility. It's tough, but this is what I enjoy, I would say.
But one incredible thing about what I understood about you is that the journey that you take, right, and the kind of connections that you make through the journey, and your cause and your purity of your intent kind of pays you back and the cause back. Like everyone is supporting you to make sure that thing happens. Like
True.
Everyone supported you to deliver those laptops or computers so that people actually get what they are.
Yeah, because I'm not chasing for
Yourself.
fame.
Yeah.
I'm not chasing for fame. I'm not chasing to be an influencer. I'm not chasing these things. So when I make real connections with friends, it's very genuine. I'm not recording anything like a vlogger or a YouTuber. Some people record it and then they send it to me, then I have the record. But I'm not intentionally going there to record stuff.
Right.
But of course, right now, there are some things that I have to record because there are so many donors that are there and they're watching and they're also expecting to see what's happening, the progress and all that. So that's the only reason I would record. But other than that, if I'm having a chat with a principal in his office, I'm not going to record those things because there are some things that are going to be very impromptu.
Right.
I'd rather have it in my head and in my heart that it will last forever than to keep it out there. So some things I record, some things I don't record, but I'm not chasing fame. I'm not chasing anything. I'm not chasing to be at the top. I'm just there. I want to just enjoy the journey. I want to have it more meaningful. So my travels, I try to take the less traveled road. I've got lost in many, many places. I've slept in random villages' houses. I've cooked for them because I carry food. Because I'm very proud Bangalorean, so I take these MTR bisibelebath and sambar rice stuff. So I want them to taste my food. So it's a very exchange of random stuff. And then next day I cut their kids' hair.
Wow.
I've raised money by cutting motorcycle club people's hair. So I've done some random pop-up. I put up a message saying I'm trying to raise funds for this old age home.
Right.
Calling out all bikers. I'm in your part of the city. Can we do a small haircutting day? So I do some 10 haircuts and I raise 50,000-60,000. So I have a skill. I'm just utilizing that to create an opportunity for me to help somebody. So that's and it comes like impromptu. I'm not planning. It's just that feel. So there's one more story where I was invited for a music festival in West Sikkim. Random.
The Zero Festival?
Not Zero Festival.
Okay.
So there is Zero Festival story also.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. So I was in Sikkim and then there was a huge music festival happening. I went to the music festival. They called me on stage. I introduced myself and I didn't have any more to talk. So I said, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be doing free haircuts for everybody. Whoever wants to donate, I'm trying to raise funds for Sikkim Himalayan Academy. And that's it. Next morning, I had like some 15 people doing that and washing their hair. It was damn funny. Only 5 people cut hair, but I raised 78,000. Because the previous night, everyone were hungover. So they just donated money, So
Good timing.
yeah, it's just good timing, right? So it's all written. If you're destined to raise an X amount, it will happen. But I didn't go with the intention that I have to raise money at this music festival. It just happened. So that is the beauty part of these journeys that I have.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think
It's fun.
yeah, it's fun. You're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do a lot of unplanned trips as well, like where probably within a few days time, a thought occurs to you and you say, okay, I want to do this trip. And
Yeah.
you also, people support you on that cause. And one big trip recently that you did was to Nepal.
To Nepal.
Tell us about that journey and experience and how there were some setbacks as well in between and you had to recover from that. Talk us through like what happened.
So early in 2024, I took a 3-month sabbatical from work. So that's 90 days of travel. So I wanted to travel from Bangalore, drive from Bangalore to Uttarakhand, then enter Nepal, then enter Sikkim and come to Bangalore. So it was a huge round trip.
Right.
So I went to Uttarakhand, finished. I found a beautiful orphanage there as well.
You drove all the way
I drove all the way to Uttarakhand
in your Thar.
in my Thar.
Okay.
And I slept in my car, tented outside my car, cooked. Everything was in the car. It's like living in my car. So I did that. That was the challenge. 90 days, can I live in my car? That's the challenge.
You had to do was there a lot of preparation for that because you can't go?
No preparation.
No?
No preparation.
Like you probably need to lot of cooking equipment or like some...
I already had those things because I'm a motorcyclist, right? So I already had all the equipment, the small stuff. I just needed to buy more gases and stuff like that.
Okay.
So everything was there. So I started off my trip. So I was in Uttarakhand. There, I found a beautiful orphanage called Good Shepherd Agricultural Mission. It's a farm where they teach these kids how to live life. And then they'll teach them education, basic education. But these guys can really survive in a jungle. They know how to pick which fruit, they know how to pick which plant, which is a medicinal plant, which is a poison, and it's amazing.
They have the real sense of education.
Absolutely.
Which is...
Absolutely. They know, a 12-year-old knows how to drive a tractor.
Wow.
So those
You won't get this in any...
You won't get those things. Yeah, the 8-year-old girl is swimming in a lake to catch fish. Not even scared. Like I was scared to jump into the lake because it was so dirty and it was, in the hay or snake. They just jumped in. So I learned so much from them than they learned from me. It is amazing. So I was at the border of Nepal and next day I was supposed to enter Nepal and enjoy for the next 35 days. My dad fell sick, unfortunately, so I had to quickly rush back.
Okay.
Luckily, he got better and basically he's a stubborn guy and a very strong guy. So he just kind of bounced back so fast.
I'm sure you coming there would have given him
Yeah, for sure.
power.
For sure. But he also is a traveler, so he said, yeah, I'm fit now, you can go. So a month later, I flew to Sikkim.
Okay.
And then I shipped my bike there.
Okay.
Then Royal Enfield supported me a lot with the logistics and stuff like that. So they received my bike, by truck.
Okay.
They received my bike, serviced it, got everything ready, and they supported me. So then I rode my bike to Gangtok and then visited all these schools, finished that. Then I had to come back. Then I worked for 4-5 months and then it was November to go to Nepal. So my recent trip was Nepal. Then I sold my Thar.
Oh, you sold it?
I sold the Thar and I bought a Jimny.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jimny is smaller, it's lighter, it can go through smaller roads and stuff like that. I was also sponsored a little bit here and there. So got a lot of support. Then I drove from Bangalore to Nepal.
Again, okay.
Yeah, so I took the east coast.
Jimny. Okay.
As soon as I reached Nepal, border security force said this car cannot enter Nepal because he saw so many boxes of donated clothes and on top of the car.
It's a goods vehicle.
They thought it's a goods vehicle because they wanted documents about it and all that. And in the Nepal tourism website, they don't have any information about all these things.
Right.
So I was like, oh gosh. So then anyway, the Indian customs helped a lot and, they helped me write some stuff and signed it. And from there, I went to a women's prison.
Women's prison?
Yes.
In Nepal?
In Nepal. So that was my first project.
Okay.
So I was driving to the women's prison. There were 2 women's prisons.
Was it a spontaneous thing or was...
No, this was planned because 5 years ago, I met a woman who rehabilitates women prisoners after they're released from jail so that they don't relapse and, commit any other crimes. And also to learn how to be accepted in society and not to be afraid of society, what they think. And so she also tries to help them with some vocational skills and stuff like that. So I met her randomly 5 years ago in Sikkim because I cut her hair in Sikkim to raise funds.
Wow.
So that connection
Connection.
is beautiful. So she said, I'll come with you. So she got me all the permissions there and we entered. We donated a lot of warm clothes, a lot of essentials. Because all these women are not, they're not criminals.
Yeah.
You know, they unfortunately had to
Situation.
protect themselves, protect the kids and stuff like that. So they had to do some stuff, right? So I did some haircuts, but I was not allowed to shoot there. But they were so touched and, you know, and 2 of them gave me sweaters, handmade sweaters. It was an amazing experience. Me and you will never survive one day in that prison. There's no chance. It's such bad condition. Really bad condition. But they still have a smile and they still have hope to be released someday. So it's an unfortunate thing. And a lot of my friends ask me, why are you going to a prison? They're all prisoners. End of the day, they're a human. They may not have committed a crime. We are nobody to judge. So my only intention was to give them a haircut.
Right.
And just make them smile for that time being at least.
Right.
And at least a happy memory for the next 5 years.
Right.
Maybe. That's my intention.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people in prison also. I've heard of not religion, but spiritual monks
Yeah.
kind of go and work with prisoners
Yeah.
to change the mindset of a prisoner
Yeah.
from feeling like I'm jailed or suffocated to still feel like, see, what is the difference between a prison guard and a prisoner? Both of them are in the same prison and both of them have to continue their duty.
Correct.
For the guard, it is to take care of the prison. For the prisoner, it is just feeling like he's staying inside. But the mindset is different. That a prisoner feels like he is like the culprit, and if he continues to live that way, there's no meaning to that life, right?
Correct.
That's why a lot of reform, I've heard of stories of reform from a spiritual side for prisoners actually comes back in giving back to the society. People who come out of prison have done a lot of work to give back to
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have a friend who goes to jails to teach dance, teach art. It's all about trying to help them not fall back again, right? Relapse.
Correct.
So, but after spending 3 days with so many women prisoners, 99% of them are not criminals, according to me. They are they're unfortunate. Some crazy stories. If I could share one story, is there is this lady who's been in jail for 9 years. And why? Because one morning she was getting ready to take her children for school. And her husband also was waiting for the child to get ready. 2 daughters. And the older daughter was taking time and stuff like that. And then the husband unfortunately slapped the older one and she fell backwards and hit her head and immediately passed away.
Passed away.
It was a huge brain hemorrhage and bled out. But the husband carried the baby on the road crying, saying that the wife did it. And then unfortunately within 2 hours she got arrested and she's been in jail for 9 years. So we don't know whether that's true or false, but when the person was sharing this story to me, it felt really, really genuine. And it's unfortunate, right, that a woman is treated this way. So that's why I chose to go there and hear it out. So yeah, I think that was a crazy experience for me. And driving all across Nepal was an amazing experience. Nepal is very, very beautiful, but very raw. People are really nice. And my other project in the western part of Nepal was to go and visit this wonderful orphanage called Kopila Valley Children's Home.
Okay.
So this story is also crazy. So there's this lady called Maggie. 20 years or 23 years ago, when she was young, she was backpacking in Nepal. And she saw many kids, young kids, not in school. But they were all breaking bigger rocks into stones for construction. And she felt this is absolutely not right. So then she volunteered at an orphanage and she met a person called Tope. And he also was an orphan, but he's now much older and he works at the orphanage. So they became friends over the few months.
And both of them are not from Nepal. They are travelers.
No, Tope uncle is from Nepal.
Okay.
Tope uncle is from Nepal and he happened to be an orphan, but he grew up and he is now volunteering at an orphanage.
Okay.
20 years ago. That's where Maggie met Tope. So they were working at an orphanage.
Okay.
As they became friends, Maggie got to know that Top was an orphan and was from this village called Surket, was even more poor. So she was more inquisitive. So they went to Surket to see what's happening there, and she saw even more crazy stuff. Malnutrition and, parents beating the kids and stuff like that. She went back to the US, sold everything, sold her house, sold everything, came back, bought a land with Top, and they started Kopila Valley Children's Home. That was an inspiring story. So I got to meet the kids there, and I spent 4-5 days there. So that was the dream to go there, and I made it happen. So Nepal was an amazing, amazing trip. And what Kopila Valley, Maggie and the whole team are doing is just amazing. And all these kids are orphans, but so bright, and they also started a Kopila Valley school as well. Why did they start the school? Because these kids were coming back home from the government school. They started the orphanage only, right? So they were going to a government school.
Right.
So when the kids were coming back, they were all in tears and they had marks.
Okay.
So that means
parents are...
the teachers were hitting the kids.
Okay.
So she got damn irritated, and then she did a crowd fund, and they started their own school called Kopila Valley School. So that's where they teach these kids compassion, kindness, love and sustainability, and they grow their own food in the school also. So it's again a lot of amazing learnings for these kids. They respect a plant, they respect a insect, and they're not even scared of it. And they were so proud to show me each and every part of their school. That means the school is so amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
They're really happy with it.
They're really, really happy. So that is what I experienced for 5 days. So it was just amazing. It was an amazing trip. So I would love to go back there again.
I'm sure, because after seeing such real, raw and genuine experiences, it could be good, it could be bad.
Yeah.
But that's so, real, and you can connect with that in a deeper level, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then once you come back to the city, now you feel a different vibe suddenly.
When I come back to the city, I value things.
Right.
Right? I value things like what I have, I value. I've decluttered 95% of what I have.
Mm-hmm.
So this is used for many years. I don't want to buy a new...
You live on very less.
I don't need it.
Yes.
So I valued those things over the last 10 years. So that's what I value. So when I come back, I value that I have a wonderful team of stylists. I think 10 times the way I talk to my team. I think 10 times when I talk to a watchman or anybody. I value light that I have in my salon. So that's what has changed for me over the last few years. I value eating home food and not wasting home food than to go out. So these are small things that I've changed in my lifestyle. But yeah, it's been great actually.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I just want to go back, all of these are incredible stories, right? But I want to understand, you were in school, college, you were captaining the team.
Yeah.
How did it, and I know you, at some point you started the venture of having a salon.
Yeah.
So how did that story start from out of college and getting into here? And then how did the entire journey of being this explorer for a cause and a wanderer for a cause happen? So how did that move?
So I was a very, I obviously loved cricket. I played a lot of cricket. I played for the state for many years. And I was a very aggressive captain. I only loved winning. I was not a sore loser, but I hated to lose. So, and I always wanted to do good things for the team, because team is very important. Individuals are not. So my grandmom would always tell me, okay, now you've done your cricket tournament. Now let's go to the old age home. So she was someone who always would pick me up and say, okay, done, good, you've had your fun, now come, let's go and give something back. So that's how inculcated in me that I was always, every week and every month, I would be going to the old age home. So I was always there. At the age of 12, I started going to the old age home.
It was there from
It was there.
Okay.
Hairdressing, I started becoming a hairdresser when I was 15-year-old. Because I come from a family of hairdressers. My grandmom's a hairdresser, my aunts are hairdressers.
Okay.
So I've been a hairdresser for 23 years now. I'm 36 years old, but for 23 years, I've been a hairdresser. So at a very young age, when I was in 8th standard, I started spending a lot of time at my grandmom's salon while I was practicing. Like, we would finish practice at 6 o'clock, then I would go back home. Yeah, Webb's Ground or Palace Ground. Yeah, Palace Ground. I was in Palace Ground.
Okay.
So then I would go to the salon because salon would close at 9:30, 10. So there was the 3 hours every day. So every day, 3 hours was muscle memory for me, right? I was practicing, I was serving tea, coffee, I was cleaning the floor. I did everything. My grandmom taught me how to do everything. Even if you're from the boss's family, they taught me even how to like sweep the floor, mop the floor, clean the toilet. That's what. So it was everything. Learn how to run the business, learn how to make orders.
So, no privilege given like from the start.
The privilege was good food at home.
Of course,
right? But everything else was hard. Like everything else was not given to me very easily, right? I was wiping exhaust fans, going in. That time we didn't have Swiggy, we didn't have online payments. I would go to BSNL office to pay telephone bills, KEB office to go and pay electricity bills. So it was interactions. Lot of interactions. Namaskara sir, hegidara sir, tavali sir.
And learning all
the languages and all jobs. I was like an all-round. I knew how to go buy fish from the market. I knew how to buy fresh fruit from the vendor and how to bargain and how to talk and stuff like that. So that life skills school will never teach you. Right? Only when someone, your mentor or your parents push you out of your comfort zone, you will learn things. Right? So that's how I think my young childhood journey started off. And when I was in college, I was captaining college and I took college cricket really, really seriously. And that's what I think our physical director and sports director saw that in me, and he just gave me full freedom. So there were times where we had some international young cricketers and state cricketers coming in and wanting to play this tournament, but I never put them in the team because what about my other team players who came every single day for practice? They deserve to play. And this is a college tournament. If we don't play the college tournament, who will play it, right?
Yeah.
So I think my physical director really, really understood me and appreciated me. After that, I knew slowly that my state cricket career was slowly coming down because my performances were also coming down due to injuries and, even your form goes up and down as a cricketer. So I knew I needed to do something. So that's how I got into hairdressing. And
you had learned all the skills that you need for entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
You had learned how to do all of these chores or negotiate, buy stuff, set up something.
Exactly.
So
I didn't know it was happening, but it happened.
Yes.
And then when I made up my mind that, okay, I'm going to get into hairdressing and start my own little studio, it just happened. I knew how to call the vendor and say, I need 10 boxes of color. I need 2 shampoos. And he would say, why don't you take 5 shampoos? I'll give you discount. No, you give me 2 bottles and you give me discount on this too. So I knew how to negotiate. So that's how it started. And before I knew it, I fell in love with hairdressing. That's what happened. I fell in love with the job. And that's why I survived 23 years and counting. Right? I don't see it as a job. I see it as like a stress buster for me to shape somebody else's hair and the smile on that customer's hair, and when that customer is leaving, he or she pre-books her next visit 3 months later. So that is like a huge victory for me, right? So it's a huge validation. So I think, I don't know, I can't pinpoint anything, but that's how it flowed for me. It just started.
For you, life has been, I think, a good flow.
Yeah.
Like you always put yourself where the flow is and like let the life take you there.
Exactly.
Really.
And I never doubted myself.
Amazing. That's important.
And I never thought that I cannot do it. I never relied. Sometimes my pantry staff would not come to salon. I would clean the kitchen up. I would clean the toilet up because I had the training when I was younger. Because it was muscle memory for me.
One is training, also training of the physical doing of the chore, but also the attitude.
Yeah.
You had the attitude training also as a young age.
Exactly.
You didn't have that ego to say, I'm not going to take it.
Because my grandma would always say, every job, you do it with full heart. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what people are saying, what people are thinking. Just do it. That's it. Don't rely on anyone, just do it. I think that has helped me not stress about a lot of things.
Right.
right? Like Bangalore traffic. Bangalore. I'm like, it's okay. It's fine.
Flow with it.
Flow with it. If the auto is pushing you this side, you also go that side only.
I would say Danny's mantra is that flow with it.
Flow with it.
Yeah.
My hair's flowy. So I just flow with it. So yeah, I think then the adventures of traveling began. I started motorcycling when I was...
Which was your first bike that you took?
My first bike was an RX 100, then RX 135. Then in 2016, I bought a Triumph Tiger. It's a 800cc Tiger. A bike, I rode that bike for 75,000 kilometers actually. Nice. So I rode it in about 3 years. I rode 75,000 kilometers. It's a huge, lot of riding. And a lot of exploring. A lot of times I got lost. A lot of times
It's a little heavy, no, the bike?
It's heavy.
But it's good for off-road, long...
Yeah, very, very good. It's very good. But then I realized that it's a high maintenance vehicle.
Right.
So then I sold that bike and bought a mid-range bike which is cheaper. Himalayan. I had a 390 Adventure, KTM 390 Adventure. So it became a lot more cheaper. And my happy quotient became higher, right? Because I'm not worried about parts, money, XYZ. So I realized certain things that I don't need expensive things to be happy.
Right.
Did I enjoy the Tiger? Yes, but I was stressed.
Yes.
Someone's touching my bike. Why is that fellow touching? If I fall down, then that bike part will be expensive. Yeah. So many things.
Yeah. So that's one realization even I've got over the years is that having more is more responsibility. It's not actually, sometimes it's freedom, but a lot of times it's more responsibility.
Yeah. Agree.
Having as much as you need is actually more freedom.
True. Very true. And that's why I have only one salon in the last 11 years, right? So a lot of customers who come to our salon some of them are CEOs of some companies, some of them are IPS officers, some of them are scientists, some of them are DRDO scientists, and some of them are kids, right? So a lot of them and venture capitalists, people who are in the F&B, they're all like, Danny, let's open one franchise, like we'll pump in money, you take care. It's very easy
to fall for that.
But I wanted to create one niche where we try and control the quality as much as possible and not be so greedy, and just be happy and not overwork yourself.
Right.
So those kind of things, we have a lot of good work-life balance in my salon. So I'm enjoying it and my team is definitely enjoying it. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So work-life balance, that's why I work for 3 months and I travel for 40 days.
Yeah, you won't get that freedom if you're 6-8 chain, like store salons and a chain.
Yeah.
You'll always be worried about some management issue somewhere else.
Correct.
Some training somewhere else.
Correct. And my staff who's been with me for 5 year plus, during the year, one day they'll take 15 days off, then one month they'll take 20 days off. They're free to take it because they've put in so much of hard work, they've put in so much of dedication and all that. And we all like to travel. So that's how I try and function and how I try and live my life.
Right.
Work and then travel is what I would say. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like of all the traveling that you've done and exploration, what would you say is the most, I know everything is memorable for its own cause. Maybe I would say more than memorable, what has been your feeling that, okay, this has been very satisfying what I've done. This has truly touched and satisfied me a lot. Is there any such?
Yeah, so there was one crazy incident where in Thailand, many years ago in Thailand, I had gone there for a vacation. But whenever I go for vacation for more than 1 week, I carry my cutting kit.
Okay.
Because I start getting scared that I'll forget how to cut hair and stuff like that. So I have to start finding.
So muscle memory, why would you?
I don't know. It's back of my mind, I've got that anxiety, I guess. So I try to find my victim who I'm going to cut. So in Thailand, and this island called Koh Tao Island, it's the last island. It's a beautiful island. So the first night when I landed there, I met this couple at the bar who run the bar, and they happen to also own a small little salon.
Okay.
So during the day, they run a small salon, and in the night, they run a bar, different location. So I'm like, I'm also a hairdresser, XYZ. So next morning, I went for a run, and I see few foreigners sitting outside. And I walk in and I realize the salon. And I go in there and I said, can I help you all? Because I realized that they are just beginner hairdressers. So while they were finishing 1 haircut in 2 hours, I finished 4 haircuts in 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So I reduced that queue that they had. And then I did a small little master class for them. Like I did a 3-hour impromptu hairdressing class for these two people who are owners of the salon.
Okay.
But they took the master class because they knew that I had more experience. So there was no ego there. So that was a beautiful class that I did for them. But then 2 days later, there was a huge storm in the island, and water filled up till here, and no one could leave the island.
You were there?
I was there.
Okay.
So 7 days later, where I was staying, nobody came to work, no food, no nothing, and it was crazy. So I went to buy some medicine from one medical shop. I rode a bike, and then the road was kind of bending like this, so there was full water. So I said, I can't take the bike. I said, I'll swim.
Okay.
So as I was swimming, on the right side, I see one bar and one set of foreigners, fully drunk. And suddenly one girl slipped and the water took her to the drainage and she was hanging there. And I saved her life. That was the memory that I'll never forget.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. And none of her friends jumped in the water, obviously. And she was hanging, like the water was gushing. And if it took her in the thing, she would have died. So I was anyway going for a swim.
You risked your life as well to an extent.
Yeah, I didn't see the risk at that time because
Okay.
I was like, dude, she needs help. So I swam there and saved her, and we went there, and then I had a couple of tequila shots with them and just went on my way. But then when I realized what happened, it was really, really scary, actually. So that was the craziest memory that all these travels and adventures that I've had. Yeah, so that's to answer your question. Yeah, that was very satisfying that I was able to save
A life.
That was crazy. Madness that was.
Amazing.
Some days I
This deserves an applause, actually. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Damn, man. I think we need like a part 2 for the podcast because there's so many stories.
There are lots. I've spent so much time with indigenous people.
Actually, I want to, hear about the recent Tadoba story. You read the Tadoba
Tiger Reserve. So
do you visit a lot of? Do you spend time over such wildlife reserves as well? And what do you?
So Kabini and Tadoba, there is this property called Red Earth property, right?
I'm aware.
So Red Earth property has always encouraged me to come to their property and stay there like a little ambassador.
Right.
But what they do is amazing. They support the indigenous tribes there, right? Like in Tadoba, the Gond tribe, G-O-N-D, Gond tribe, right? So they hire, they train, they make them into naturalists. They train them how to become a bartender.
Okay.
They give them
resorts.
For the resorts. And they train, even when they become a naturalist, they become naturalists for the whole wildlife. They're protecting the wildlife. They're educating you and I about wildlife.
Right.
So I spend a lot of time there to get educated, to just spend some time with them. Like I would I'm in awe of them, The way they just look at a bird and they know that this bird's sound and this bird's name and this insect, what it does, why it's so important. We don't think of those things.
Right.
They are contributing so much to the betterment for the wildlife that we actually have. And we cannot push back the indigenous people anymore. We should not be doing that, right?
They were all relocated from the forest?
Yeah,
to
from some core zones they were relocated.
Right.
But when you relocate them, then what do they do there?
Yeah, they don't know how to live a life outside of
because they know what this wild mushroom does. They know what this wild plant does. Right? Now, if someone gets bitten by a snake, you're not going to drive 150 kilometers to go see a doctor. You'll go to a tribal guy who will give you this medicinal plant that will save your life, and then you go to the hospital or a doctor, right? So you cannot move indigenous people from their place. They've lived with the tigers for generations. You cannot move them. You should not move them. So that's what I learned from the naturalists at Red Earth property. They are so educated, they spend so much time. And of course, the naturalists also educate the tribal people on various changing things as well. Just to give them an idea what's happening.
of the outside world.
Of the outside world. They're saying you don't do these things, but we want you to know what this is.
Right.
So that's a beautiful
Exchange.
that Red Earth Property and many other properties are also doing. But Red Earth Property has this ethics that they will only hire indigenous people of that community.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So, I get inspired by them. So I'm now going to be working with them in the future. They have something called Nilgiris and Wayanad Tribal Welfare Trust.
Okay.
So they set up small hospitals and education classes, schools. So they're trying to introduce cricket now.
Okay. Nice.
So they introduced football. Now they want to introduce cricket. So they reached out to me, and I'm going to be doing maybe some haircut programs and self-defense programs and all that. So I'm also a martial artist.
Okay.
So I'm training basics of self-defense. So cricketer Varun Aaron, right?
Yes.
So he's also showed keen interest to be part of this cricket program that we are trying to set up there. Hopefully that will happen this year. I think Tadoba has been beautiful. Kabini is very, very beautiful. We need to protect these forests.
Right.
Otherwise it'll be too late. Yeah.
Yes. What's coming up for Danny? What
I'm doing now next?
Yeah, what's some of the exciting stuff that...
Yeah, I'm going back to Sikkim Himalayan Academy this March.
Okay.
I'm going to be teaching English during the day.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be teaching self-defense at the end of the day. And in the weekend, I'm going to be cutting hair for the whole village. So this is what I'm going to be doing that for a month. So I'm going to be driving all the way.
Okay.
And I've got a lot of clothes to donate. A lot of people are donating.
Yes.
I hope that, we can raise more awareness about this school and other places. So I'm going to be driving with a lot of clothes and a few more laptops we've somewhat got. I'm going to surprise the school.
Right.
And the kids. And so that this March, next month.
Amazing. And as a part of this podcast as well, we would want to contribute not only us here, like the entire Smart Q employee community.
Thank you.
So I will encourage, we'll take the links of what items could be donated, or what causes we can support.
Sure, of course.
And we'll spread it through our channel.
Awesome.
So that
love that. Cheers.
we could
that'll be awesome. Grateful. Thank you so much. Cheers.
And if there's any advice to someone who would want to not only contribute but also be involved in some of the things that you do, what do you look for, or what is some of the advice that you could give them if they want to kind of contribute outside of just monetary, but more of time and involvement?
Yeah, see, there are these NGOs that love volunteers to come in and experience. It can be a life-changing experience. I have two friends who were getting depressed with their corporate work. So they asked me, Danny, I want to go to Sikkim, I want to go see this lake, and I want to do this. Can you organize? I said, okay, I'll organize everything, but you have to promise me to go and visit this school for 3 days. They are designers. So I said, you promise me to visit this school for 3 days. They spent 16 days in that school, and they cancelled
The rest
going to that Gurudongmore lake and all that. 16 days they changed. And now when they came back to Bangalore, they quit their job and they're doing something on their own. I didn't tell them to quit their job, but it just something changed in them. Spending that time, breathing that air, slowing down life, eating healthy food, communicating and not being on the phone. That became so important for change their life when they came back. So
Amazing.
I think the message that I could share to people is, if there's one thing that you've always wanted to do and you've not done it, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Your story is you are truly inspiring, not your story, right?
And we are all doing our thing, so yeah.
Good. And with that, we would call it the end of the podcast. Maybe we'll have a part 2 as well sometime.
Yeah.
With more adventures, more experiences.
Yeah. Sure.
And maybe from my side also.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yes.
Where I could work with Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't do anything alone.
Yes.
Right? We need support and we need guidance. Right? Some people have different ideas coming in, suggestions, feedbacks. So all that we have to reflect and, rebound, and we need to understand these things, right? I can't do it alone. So
Right.
over the years, I've got a lot of friends and a lot of support, and my co-friends have always pushed me to get out there and do it. So it just didn't happen that I'll go. So
Right.
part of my family, my friends, everybody has pushed me. So thank you for having me here, man.
Thank
That's
you.
so good.
So good to see you. Thanks, buddy. Of course. It's so good.